Whoa, look at that. I'm on camera. That's crazy. If you're here from my other socials, then my face shouldn't be a surprise. But if you found this channel kind of on its own, then surprise. Yeah, very handsome. I know. You should subscribe. You should subscribe because I'm just so handsome. Today I'm here to talk about slurs. We love those, right? That's everybody's favorite topic. I've seen a bit of a resurgence of the R word online. Pretty decent bit recently, especially on Twitter. I haven't seen that a lot lately. It's kind of been having a comeback. And I wanted to talk today about why I think that's probably not a good thing. The word was initially introduced as a medical term for people with disabilities, but over the years it's kind of become more of a just slang term for something being like stupid or dumb. Like that's what it usually means now. That's how most people use it. Not everyone. Some people still do use it in a way to refer to, like, in a derogatory manner to the differently abled. If that's you, this video is not for you, man. So yeah, now it's just more of a synonym for dumb. That's how I personally grew up using the word. I didn't even realize it had any sort of derogatory origins until like middle school, I think, middle school. A lot of people don't see an issue with using the word as long as you aren't disparaging, disabled people with it. Like, they care more about your intent and stuff. And I mean, I get where people are coming from, right? That used to be my position. I had an experience, though, that changed my mind, which I'm going to talk about. I have a close friend that I've known for ages. She's good at masking, so you wouldn't know it if you only interacted with her like once or twice. But she has autism and also a few other disabilities. And this was back in, like, I think sophomore or freshman year of high school. We were just walking around town yapping and doing all that stuff, right? And I sort of casually just slipped in the R word into conversation. I think I called myself it for some reason. I think I forgot a homework assignment. I don't know. It's not very important. But in any case, I used the word, right? And then directly afterward, she talked to me about how that made her feel as a disabled person and why she didn't like it. I felt really bad, dude. I hurt the feelings of this person that I care about a lot. And I didn't like it. I didn't like doing that. That's the issue with the R word, really. Regardless of how I meant to use it or what I meant by it, I still hurt someone. How you use it doesn't change the history of the word and doesn't change who you hurt by saying it. You never know who might hear what you say, even if it's not someone disabled, right? A lot of people have disabled friends or family that are going to be hurt on their behalf when you use that word. Like, I was talking to a doctor a while back during like a checkup sort of thing, and he has a kid who has Down syndrome, and he was talking about how, like, hurt he feels when people use that word just in like everyday language. And I don't want to make people like that feel uncomfortable, man. I don't want them to feel bad. I mean, that experience, it really just kind of flipped a switch in my brain. I don't know. I want people to feel comfortable. There's nothing wrong with having empathy, Someone might take that to its extreme and go like, yeah, well, if you don't want to make people uncomfortable, then why do you swear, huh? Why do you do that? Because some people do get uncomfortable when I say stuff like shit and fucking piss and cum, right? Like, there are some old ladies who do not like it when people use profane language like that. That's a thing. But I think that there's a very stark difference here, right? I think the key difference here is that I'm just saying words that make people feel generally uncomfortable, or at least a very small subsection of people, when I use curse words, right? Whereas a slur has to do with an inseparable part of someone's identity, which I think evokes much stronger emotions than an old lady just being offended because, I said fuck in public or something. The two just aren't comparable, in my opinion. So yeah, my main issue is around the word derived from making other people feel bad. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make people feel bad. So I guess also another kind of argument could be like, well, what if I use it in a setting where no one would be hurt, right? Like, only with a close group of friends, for example. And based on my own principles, I guess it's not technically wrong, I guess. Like, if you want to mutter it to yourself in a basement or something, right? Like, I'm not gonna bust your door down or something. But again, even in semi-private settings with friends, someone else could always be in earshot. And even in fully private settings, I think it's better not to, if for nothing else than to just make sure it doesn't become a regular part of your vocabulary. Because if you say it a lot in private, then it becomes easier to let it slip out in public when you don't want it to, or when someone else could hear it. So that's probably why not a good idea. Also, I think it's just kind of weird to try and like jump through loopholes and bend over backwards to find an ethical way, if there is one, to say a slur. Like, just use a different word, man. it's not that hard, I swear. If we start having this argument about like any other like slur or word, most people understand why it'd be weird trying to justify using it. Not everyone. There are some people who use all the words. Again, if that's you, this video is probably not for you. But you know, I guess they're morally consistent, if nothing else. I think it's pretty stupid, but they are consistent. The other argument I hear is calling it soy boy, like beta cuck shit, to let other people's feelings dictate your actions. But I disagree entirely. I think it's, especially nowadays, people should be more considerate, not less, right? And also, if you break it down, I think you'll find these same people do let other people's feelings dictate their actions. If I'm being honest, like that's just literally the definition of all cultural norms. Cultural norms. Yeah, all those. Because we fucking, you know, we hold doors open for people due to cultural norms. We carry bags and offer seats to people all because of other people's feelings. The debate bro nerds seem to have this fixation on always being objective and like always being correct, or like sort of view it in like a sort of robotic sense, right? But that's just not how human interaction works. There is no objectivity. It's all just bullshit rules we made up, right? Almost everything we do is to some degree about what's found acceptable by polite society, and being intentionally obtuse about this one specific word is fucking weird. It's weird, man. Like, yes, dude, if a big enough percent of the population gets uncomfortable when people use a certain word, especially if that certain word has to do with people's, again, inseparable parts of their personal identity, then yeah, I'm gonna stop using it. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. I want to make people feel good and not bad. So I don't use it. After that experience with my friend, I stopped saying it almost immediately. It took a little bit to get it fully out of my vocabulary, but you know, it's not that hard. There's a billion other words. There's a lot of other words, man. I promise you can do it. So if it's wrong to use it, what should you do when other people do use it? That's an interesting question. And to be honest, I usually don't do anything. I don't know, man. I don't love confrontation if I can avoid it. And I don't like being the language police. You know, I overthink things and I like getting my thoughts kind of organized. And that's why I make videos like this, because I like to break things down in a very structured format. But I feel weird being the guy that's like, hey, you can't say that. That's wrong. No. When people do stuff like that, especially because I'm neurotypical. So kind of white knighting the issue just feels weird. It feels awkward to me. I don't like to do it. I don't like to do that. I don't like to be that guy. So I just don't usually. I think you could argue that calling people out is how they learn, right? I'm a prime example. If my friend didn't call me out that one time, maybe I'd still be slinging that shit. Probably not. I don't think I would be. But, you know, it's possible, I guess. That being said, not everyone's open to criticism, right? If anything, most people just get kind of defensive when you try and talk about stuff like this. Most people don't like it when you criticize them or their actions. So you can only do so much arguing with people like that. Most people who use it regularly honestly have a pretty negative personification of those who don't, or perception of those who don't. Not wanting to use it kind of lumps you in with the sort of like 2016, 2017 era like social justice warrior archetype. But by being a normal, chill person who also just doesn't vibe with that stuff, I think that it's a lot easier to convince people on this and most other issues in general, right? Because you can only do so much with debate, man. Most people aren't receptive to it. I don't usually go out of my way to call people out on stuff like that most of the time. But if it's like brought up naturally in conversation, like the ethics behind certain words or slurs, I'm not going to be shy about my position. I usually try and calmly explain how I feel about it. And, you know, if I talk about how I feel about it and less about like, hey, you shouldn't do that, then people who do use it are usually a lot more receptive to that form of communication than a more confrontational style of like, hey, stop doing it, stop it. Obviously this relies on it coming up naturally in conversation, but you know, I don't like confrontation, man. I don't like it. I don't like to do it. I don't know if that's the right like approach to take or not, but that's just what I do. I don't think it's cool to really be slinging slurs if you're part of the marginalized group that this slur refers to, right? If you're neurodivergent or otherwise disabled, I'm not going to tell you can't say the R word, man. Like that's your fucking right, surely. And similarly, like I'm bisexual, right? I haven't talked about that on this channel before, But that means I get to say the fucking F word, the fun one, not the fuck word, but the other one, the other more controversial one, which is pretty cool. But even then, there's still like some nuance to it, right? Like someone might ask if they have to be sufficiently disabled or disabled appearing to use it. And I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's complicated, right? Like I get that getting a diagnosis can be really hard, and not everyone who is disabled appears disabled. The best way I can talk about this is just talking about my own experience, right? Again, I'm bisexual, and I'm pretty straight passing for the most part. I think I'm pretty stereotypically masculine. I lift weights like, oh, big man, big fucking guy. But I don't know. In my experience, usually straight people never see it coming, and gay people see it coming a million miles away. I say the F slur sometimes because I think it's funny, but there's nuance. I don't say it a bunch in public. Not only because people might think I'm a straight homophobic dude, but also just to keep people comfortable. Even in private settings with friends who know my sexuality, I won't always rip that shit. If I have friends who are comfortable with that sort of language, then like, yeah, I'll say that shit. I'll rip that shit. But I also have LGBTQ friends who don't like to hear people say that word, regardless of where it comes from or the intention behind it, which is also fair. Like specifically for people who have been like, bullied with that specific word a lot. I feel like it's fair to feel that way. I grew up in California. I've never had, also again, I was pretty straight passing growing up, so I never had to deal with any that sort of stuff. Honestly, I never like got called the F slur or had any like gay accusations. So that's not something I had to struggle with, and I think I have a different perception on different stance on the issue because of it. But if people don't like to hear the word, I think that's fine, man. In that situation, I won't use it. So I don't know. There's a lot of nuance. You just got to kind of feel out the environment and people you're with. That's my take on it, at least. As always, feel free to ignore all my opinions. I don't know shit, man. I'm a dumb little idiot. If you love the R word and use it all the time, this video alone probably won't change your mind. But hey, man, maybe it'll nudge you in the right direction. That'd be cool. That's what it's all about, baby. Also, the last video went kind of crazy. We got like 500 views and like people in the comments actually talking about like the topic at hand. That was pretty sick. That was pretty cool. So I'll keep trying to make up videos like this because it's fun. I like it. I'm a little nerd, so it's a good time. I'm not going to force myself to yap if I don't have anything to yap about. But if a personal story comes up or a topic/issue seems relevant that I want to talk about, I'll push a video out. Also, I'm playing web fishing. You guys see that? I'm playing web fishing. Isn't that crazy? I usually use Minecraft for the background gameplay, but I thought I'd try experimenting with something else a little bit. I've been playing it a little bit lately, especially when I've been procrastinating my final stuff, my finals. I've been playing this game. It's fun, dude. It's cozy. It's a good time. Like, dude, the amount of like $3 indie games that have been made by furries this year that have just gone fucking crazy and like been really good, crazy value. I don't know. There was a lot of them this year. There was Lethal Company. I guess that's technically last year it came out, but I don't know. Furry community cooked this year. And that's all the app for today. I'll see ya.